Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, we're back with, the rumour mill I'd say, but more of a discussion point on yesterday, more natter about Leeds United at this moment in time. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Obviously we're only going to be on for about 15 to 20 minutes, so make sure you get your thoughts in. We're going to be discussing Manchester United, we're going to be discussing Radrizzani's comments yesterday to a fan online again, and just the general persona of Daniel Farke, really, and his comments after the game and what you guys got from that, what I got from that, and what we're going to be doing going forward in terms of the transfer strategy. Obviously, yesterday, Southampton made another massive signing. As you guys know, Shea Charles, who we spoke about on the channel, potentially coming to Leeds this summer, moved to Southampton for 15 million. That's on the back of a Ryan Manning addition as well. Two additions who were on the signings at the start of the season that I would have loved Leeds United to have gone and got. My 10 signings video. It is what it is. There are still options out there for Leeds. With 24 days left of before the Cardiff game, I think I'm getting a little bit concerned as to the action that Leeds are putting into place in front of the cameras, from what we can see and what we can hear from journalists, which might not be relevant whatsoever. There might be loads of action going on behind the scenes. This is what I was kind of hoping for, but with the insinuation that Daniel Farke was making post-match, I'm a little bit more concerned about what's going on at Leeds United, the previous owner / current owner, also with these clauses in contracts, which is evidently frustrating the current manager as well, and how that inhibits Leeds United doing business going forward. So get your comments in the section below, everyone. Apparently, we are announcing 2 signings today, but could just be them kids from Scotland. Where's the source, Danny? Is it not just one of these weird Leeds fans who have suddenly turned into Fabrizio Romano in their own heads, who are doing their own breaking news? Because it seems like there's a lot of them about at the minute. I don't know what's happened this summer. Darren Smith, thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that, mate. £2.99. Farke's post-match interview wasn't very promising. Sounds like we're skint. Shea Charles signed for Southampton. Leicester and Southampton moving well. Leeds treading water. Yeah, and I think it's not a doomsday scenario, Jord. I think, in my opinion, and this was something, as you and a lot of you guys are on the same page, it's very predictable what's happened so far. Just because Southampton finished below us in the Premier League, I think because of the lack of, change in ownership, them targeting Russell Martin within, I think, 2 to 3 days of him being relegated, Jason Wilcox coming in as director of football very, very quickly. Obviously, Jason Wilcox has links with Manchester City, and all these sorts of things. Enzo Maresca coming in at Leicester within sort of 10 to 2 weeks. We almost predicted this at the start of the season because they've not got the complications of a takeover, which is going to take time. It's going to take time with crossovers, with staff, what's going on here, what's going on there, what's happened with the previous owners, putting clauses in certain contracts, who stays under this new ownership, who goes under this new ownership. There's so much that you need to sort out with a takeover that I think maybe certain individuals underestimated it. And I always felt that Southampton were never really going to lose a mass amount of players. Nathan Teller is a big one, who was outstanding in the Championship last season. Is he going to be leaving to go to Burnley? Who knows? That might transpire that might happen in the next couple of weeks or whatever. But they're actually getting ready-made Championship players back who excelled and got promoted in the Championship last season. They've put a 50 million quid cap on Romeo Lavia, 52 million on James Ward-Prowse. There's no real clauses, it looks like anyway from the outset, from a lot of their players. They've not sold a massive players yet. They've managed to keep hold of the current squad. Southampton are a financially stable club. We all know that. They've been in the Premier League a long time. Leicester, apparently the debts, I was reading yesterday that apparently they had a mass amount of debt in February, which the owner just completely wiped out. So Leicester are in a very, very strong position as well. So I was always thinking to myself that it's going to be a difficult start for Leeds. I didn't think it'd be like this. I didn't think we were going to get absolutely no signings by Thursday the 13th of July. I thought it was going to be a little bit more progressive than that. But Southampton, in my opinion, I think Southampton will win the league. I think they will. I think some of the additions have been very, very good, and I think they're going to continue to make very good additions. It looks like they're keeping hold of a lot of the stronghold in that side, which will be a good Championship side. We're having this discussion yesterday, and Leeds are losing. Leeds have lost, 6 players already? Not got a fee for any of them properly. What's the biggest fee? 3 million for Rodrigo, which is just, it's pathetic really, isn't it? You've got Leicester selling Maddison for 40, potentially selling Barnes for 35. And this isn't a dour way of looking at it, everyone. It's not. I don't think any of us knew that these clauses were in the contracts, which is what Farke was saying in yesterday's interview. But I think it does set Leeds back a lot. And maybe they do need collateral capital to come into the club to be able to go out and sign players. Phil, I mean, they might not, mate, but when you're signing players for 15 million, Man City's under 18 captain, who's a star, and you're getting Ryan Manning in, and it was the best left back in the division alongside Giles last season. It's going to be, listen, and they're keeping a lot of the cohort of the squad. I think it's going to be very, very close. Scum looking at us, no VAR opinion, saying that I was impressed most of the style of the youth. Yeah, 100%, mate. Let's not straightforward for Leeds, it isn't Wayne, but let's get into that to start. Let's go out and discuss the game yesterday. I was impressed with the first half, and you could see what Daniel Farke was trying to implement. And I was a fan of it. I was a big fan of it, and it's a good start for me. I think there's some impressive performances in there as well. I think the players that are in there at this moment in time in terms of youth, some of them are okay, but I'd be a little bit worried if some of them were starting at the beginning of next season, i.e. Poveda and Shackleton. I've seen some fans saying, Poveda's this, Poveda's that. Guys, Jan Poveda couldn't make it at Blackburn. Let's not lower the standards now and pretend that he's going to be a dominant player in this Leeds United side. I feel it's just one game. It was one half of football where he was controlling the ball. Okay, he was doing all right. Yeah, he was doing okay. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be a Leeds United starter. Let's not lower those expectations. I want Leeds to be getting upper echelon championship quality. And players like Jamie Shackleton, Sam Greenwood. And we'll start off with the negatives in a sense. But Jamie Shackleton needs to be sold. Nowhere near good enough. Sam Greenwood needs to be sold. Nowhere near good enough. Where does he play? Where does Sam Greenwood play? And I've said this all along. I know a lot of you guys have said the same thing. He's not a striker. He's not a midfielder. Gets dispossessed all the time. He's bad in possession as well, which I don't think is going to aid a Farke system. I'd get rid of Greenwood. You'll be able to get some value there if we're talking about capital coming in. Not mass value, but you'll be able to get some value in. And then Poveda, I'll be looking at getting rid of him as well. Maybe the Leeds can build up his reputation in pre-season friendlies and sell him on or whatever. But I also think there was some impressive performances. Look at Darko JB, he's going to be class. He's going to be absolutely class. And do you know what, everybody? A little snippet of information that I don't know. People might know this. I'm not quite sure. But I only found this out the other day from the Man City side of things. Darko JB is one of the only youngsters that City have sold on without a clause in his contract for a buyback. He does not have a buyback clause, which is great news for Leeds. Because obviously when he came to us for £5 million, you'd be thinking to yourself, oh, flipping it, here we go. As soon as he gets good, he's going to go back to City for £4 million. He's not got a buyback clause in that contract, which is great, thank God. But yeah, I think he's going to be a real standout. I really like the look of Lewis Bay. These are players that we've spoken about before on this channel. Footballers who you can fans can obviously see these players are footballers, and players like a proper midfielders and players like Sam Greenwood and Shackleton just aren't anywhere near it. I'm here, Sam Greenwood winning a bleep test. Not Sam Greenwood, Jamie Shackleton winning a bleep test, and that's getting liked by about 600 Leeds. I couldn't care less. I'm not bothered if he's fit. I want to see him on the ball. I want to see him influence a game, which he didn't do at Millwall, and he's not going to do at Leeds United. So yeah, you've got some real players there in Bate. You've got some real player there in JB, and up against the young Man United side as well. In that first half, I thought he was turning extremely well, press resistant, and it makes you think why haven't Leeds utilised him at all when we've had problems in central midfield? Paul Stringer, hi Paul. Hopefully Leeds can stay with the chasing pack and make additions in January when this mess is sorted. Orta's legacy is becoming clearer by the day. Yeah, I mean, just referring to Radrizzani last night, he liked a tweet which said Orta should never have been hired, or Orta should have been sacked by the club. Rad's been professional as ever, as ever always. But yeah, he liked to tweet basically, and then you heard in Daniel Farke's interview that this should never happen again when it comes to clauses in contracts. Which, by the way, everyone is signed off by Andrea Radrizzani. He's the guy at the top of the club. But we've said this about Orta for years. You know, he's a charlatan, a complete charlatan. And these loan clauses have cost Leeds a lot of money. They have. It's simple. And Farke was saying that in the interview. I like the look of the centre half. Was it more? Yeah, he was all right. He wasn't too bad in my opinion, mate. But as David says here, Rutter, JB Bate, Archie Coops were the only one. Yeah, and Coops was decent. You know, I'm not just going to go on about the old guard and say, oh, they're all crap, this, that, and the other. But I did put a tweet out there yesterday. Well, I did like a tweet. And it was the two worst players on the pitch in that second half are part of the leadership council. The beauty of sport is that sometimes you laugh and cry. That was by Pep Guardiola. But we all know who that was in the second half. And wasn't it funny how when Man United brought on their children in the second half, Leeds brought on experienced heads and the seniors made no difference. You know, I agree. I thought Cooper was okay yesterday. I thought he was okay. And I think he'd be a Grant Hanley sort of player for Daniel Farke in the Championship. I thought there was a couple of times that first half where he lost the ball very, very easily, Cooper, and you're always going to get that, you know, passing it centrally. Just don't pass it centrally, Liam. If you're not convinced with your option in there, just hit the channel, you know, and get Leeds further up the pitch. I know you were trying to pass out from the back, but hitting the channel, if you're able to do that accurately, can still be classified as Leeds keeping possession if you know the winger's on point with it. And understanding what you're going to do if there's no option on, you know, patterns of play sequences. But yeah, look, Cooper was all right. I thought, Rutter played okay. I thought Rutter was okay. Sinistera, listen, we know if he stays in the Championship, Leeds are going to be onto a good thing. We're going to be onto a very, very good thing. He's an outstanding footballer. He's an outstanding footballer. And I think you saw with maybe the players that weren't there yesterday, who's really going to be involved at the start of the season. I don't think it'll be far off that. I think the problem with Leeds, and I don't know if there's a loan clause in Sinistera's contract, there probably is going to be one. This transfer window is going to go on till, I believe it's the 6th of September. If a club comes in on the 6th of September for Sinistera, which it wouldn't surprise me over the last week if they've seen Sinistera in pre-season and he's been performing, they think to themselves, okay, right, well, normally he's injured by this point. We're going to take a punt on him. We're going to ask Leeds we're going to put 15 million down and 10 in instalments over 3 years. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to test the waters. Now, if Leeds were to accept that, you've now got guys, if I'm being honest with you, I think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see Sinistera in the Championship. I really don't. So you take him out of that side, and that side in general, it still needs massive work. Don't let a 2-0 loss to Man United be like a false pretense. Don't let it completely fool you. It was impressive at points, definitely is, but 2 games a week, you know, 46 game season, probably a 50 odd game season with all the cup competitions. Leeds need more. We need a lot more. A hell of a lot more, especially with the players that have gone out and just the quality and depth that we need. That's where it is, Chronicles. You know, you take him out, you remove the magic. And if Harrison is going to go as well, I don't think Jack Harrison will be playing Championship football. I think he'll be too high in demand, to be honest with you. You'll get a West Ham or someone like that coming in for him toward the back end of the season. Matty says, hey Matt, it's not a guarantee that Southampton signer will work out, bro. Same goes for Leicester and everyone else in that league. Heard Nat Phillips and Charlie Taylor will be the first. Yeah, I mean, if they are the first, that's fine. Heard something from Charlie last night when he was watching the game about Leo Yelda, which was funny. Obviously plays in Charlie's position, but he's watching. Trust me, Charlie is watching, as he would do because he's a Leeds fan. But yeah, there's no chance these signings work. You're 100% right. And you spend big money on certain additions, they've got to work. There's got to be there's going to be a lot of pressure on these individuals. I just think with Southampton and Leicester, Leicester are able to at this moment in time accrue money, big money. Apart from Tielemans, big money for some of their assets. Southampton seem to have money without even selling at this moment in time, and are bringing in players of quality. So I can tell you from the City side of things how highly this Shea Charles is rated, and City do have a buyback clause in his contract. You know, if they're able to keep Romeo Lavia and James Ward-Prowse, let's say hypothetically that's a midfield three. I think in the Championship, with how bad everybody's been going on about the Championship being and how Leeds are going to walk it and all this sort of stuff, no problem. It's certain people. That is a good midfield. That's a very good midfield, and I think you have a good midfield in the Championship, and you're halfway there. Excuse me, coughing a bit today. Yeah, Rutter did play well. 100%, wasn't 100% sold on Drame, but he looked good yesterday. Yeah, he got put on the other side as well, didn't he? But I thought he played well in that first half. I really did. I mean, Ayling caught out for Scum's second goal yesterday. Yeah, I mean, we're having this chat with Brownie yesterday, and he seemed to think that Hugo was running centrally, but I think he ran across Luke Ayling, to be honest with you, to get to that position. He almost slalomed wide to then move inwards, inverted. Listen, I mean, when Bamford came on, there's an aura with Patrick Bamford at the minute. I don't know if you guys feel it, but he just seems down in the dumps. He seems a bit like, head up in the sky, and that'll resonate with a lot of the young kids. There was one point where Matteo Joseph, I thought, was really good yesterday, and he's trying to like big everybody up in that final third. He's just a child because none of the senior players are doing it, you know, in the top half of the pitch. Bamford's just nowhere near it. He's nowhere near it. He needs to go. Ayling, I thought, was unimpressive yesterday as well. Really unimpressive. And I think a lot of the fans it's just sentiment with Ayling at this point, because Cody Drame is the first option on the team sheet for me. Ayling's nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Got caught out several times. I know we went to probably a more attacking formation. Excuse me. But he was getting caught out way more than Drame was. But yeah, overall, everybody, some slightly worrying comments afterwards from Daniel Farke. But I'm not going to take too much. I'm not going to look too much into it. But when you're essentially turning around and saying he's upset with the structure of the loans, which we all are, but he's publicly saying it. He said it's too early. It's 24 days left. It's not too early whatsoever to be talking about transfers, especially when other teams are now doing them at a rate where there's 3 or 4 signings already through the door. And, you know, he kind of was very dismissive about you know, the next signing coming in, which I always think is maybe it's a little bit of frustration there. Who knows? You're looking into something that might not actually be there, but it doesn't. from what I understand, from what you can see online, I don't know if any of these stories are true, and I'll have a look online because a lot of these accounts are just absolute tripe. Leeds are apparently making a couple of signings in the next couple of days. We'll wait and see if that is an actual thing. You know, Nat Phillips and Charlie Taylor would be magnificent, obviously. But how long is this going to take now? How long is this going to take? And is this aided by the fact that Leeds United, unfortunately, don't have the capital to be able to do things? I don't know. We don't know. None of us know because we've not done anything yet. We're just selling players. But it's obvious there's an inner frustration that Leeds United are selling players, and Leeds United are not selling players for value. They're selling players on loan. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to be back with more stuff tomorrow. We might even have another video, a little bit of analysis today as well. Another video. I'll just wait and see what I can do it on. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, everybody. We're going to have an episode on there by the end of today or tomorrow. Have a good one, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.